Okay, we are live. Hiya, I am Lyra and I'm here with the wonderful cast from Batwoman. How are you guys?
Good, how are
We're
you?
doing good.
Pretty good. Sorry for the delay, guys. We just had technical difficulties, but we are up and running and ready to talk all things Batwoman. And to start it all off, I wanted to do an icebreaker. A little this or that, and everybody has opinions on food, so I was like, let's do that.
Okay.
So shout it out, whichever you prefer, and then we'll just keep going down the line.
Okay, so you do it, Meagen, Christina, and me. Then we'll
just do it all at the same time.
Okay, can you hear us all?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear
it
you.
overlaps for me.
Okay, so
okay, so we'll do Meagen, Christina, and me.
Okay, so pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Pizza, you fools, pizza.
I knew I was gonna say pizza too, but I was like,
Cupcakes or cookies?
Cookies.
Cupcakes.
It's really both, but we can't say
both. Ice cream or froyo?
Ice cream.
Froyo.
Don't.
Okay. Pancakes or waffles?
Wait, what?
Wait, say it again.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Waffles. Pancakes. Okay, Meagen.
Yay! I was about to say, dude, come
on. Savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Savory.
Nutella or peanut butter?
Peanut butter.
Nutella when I was little, peanut butter now.
I've never even had Nutella.
It's so good.
I know. I'm fired. I know. What is that now?
Bad childhood did you have?
I know. Last one, breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Breakfast, actually, like a big breakfast.
Of course, you're English. How could you say anything other?
I
know. Dinner.
Yeah.
Unless it's English breakfast, and then breakfast.
There you go. Breakfast.
And let's see. Let me whip up my questions here. And to start it off, I wanted to ask all of you guys, what drew you to your characters? And if you want to do it the same order that we did for this or that, that'd be perfect.
Oh gosh, no pressure on me. What drove me to my character? The honest answer is the fact that it's within the whole Gotham world. Anything, I remember receiving it and I was like, oh, I'm going in for this. And then once I actually got the breakdown of the character, just seeing that Sophie was also somebody that was trained in this like really awesome way back at Point Rock with Kate. Like it just made me think like, okay, this girl's gonna be badass. She's gonna do stunts, and she's also got this little love connection to the superhero. So that of course had me going. But yeah, anything within this world is what drew me to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Batwoman, like just knowing that sold it really. But then obviously reading the script, I had 2 scenes to audition with. And even in those 2 scenes, I could see how much fun Julia was. That she like, you don't really know much about. We still don't know that much about the backstory, but she's like unpredictable and so confident. I just knew she'd be like loads of fun to play, and I was right.
Oh wait, first I want to call out Felix. Felix, if you're watching.
Felix!
We're your biggest fans. We love you.
We love you.
Just like an FYI for everyone watching, Felix is building a bat cave, which is so rad.
We cannot wait to see pictures of this.
I know. But what drew me to Alice? I mean, if I'm being really honest, I got the audition. I kind of was down and out. I'd like come home. It was the first edition of pilot season. I did it with an actor friend of mine who had just come over to hang out. And, I got this tape in the morning. I was like, can you help me with this? And there was just something so I don't know, like I was just obviously like minus the murder and mayhem, I was sort of just myself, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I didn't really think I'd get the part. But I think as time went on, what drew me to her was obviously the familial connections in the show, and how that made her different as a villain, and then also, you know, her incredible vulnerability and her backstory. You know, so often you just meet this villain and they're crazy and all of this, and you don't really know the why behind it. And I've really loved exploring the why of Alice.
Okay. And I wanted to ask about Sophie. Sophie's journey to self-acceptance has been one that has taken years to, you know, for her to come to terms with. In your opinion, Meagen, why did it take so long?
Oh, I mean, it took so long for her because it's not this like easy decision that she can just step into. You know, the thing with Sophie is, you know, I think a lot of people just have to remember that she is African American, and so in the Black community, you know, being LGBTQ, it's still in some cases just such a taboo. Like it's not very well accepted, and so I love that realness actually plays on our show, because that is one of the reasons why she couldn't just be like, hey, I'm gay, let's go. Like she had to deny it for a while, and then she goes and gets the man to try to put on this persona, you know, that like, hey, I'm straight, look, I'm accepted now, look at me. And it wasn't until Kate came back into Gotham that it was just like, maybe I am gay. And so it just kind of like, I think it just takes time and maturity overall. And I think for her, it just took 5 years to be able to do it.
Okay. And how does it feel knowing that fans connect so much with your character's journey, especially because it's the journey of a queer Black woman?
I think it is amazing that people can connect with Sophie, because I mean, I've always said that one of the things that I love about her is that she's like one of the most relatable people on the show. Like she's got a very real story, a real not flashback, what am I saying? A real past, a real history that a lot of people can relate to. And so just realizing that when we first started filming, and then when I started seeing some of the tweets, like it just gave me so much more purpose to want to do it. And yeah, it just makes it more exciting, a more exciting role to play.
Okay. And for Rachel, do you prefer playing the good guy or someone as twisted as Alice?
Oh, hands down the best. Yeah. The fun thing about playing a bad guy, I mean, especially with Alice, because you see, you know, you see this incredible vulnerability when you've learned about her backstory, and she kind of oscillates between good and bad and really bad. But when you're a heroine, when you are sort of the hero of a show, you always have to be likable, and that can be hard. And you know, you're not maybe allowed the same bandwidth to make mistakes, or whereas when you're a villain, everyone just expects you to be bad and like loves you for being bad. You get all the, you know, the sassy dialogue, and you can be crazy, and you play in this incredible bandwidth of a character. So I think I definitely always prefer to be the villain, although I feel like I get the best of both worlds with Alice.
And I have a couple of Twitter questions. This is kind of from yesterday's Lost Girl panel, but Meagen Tandy ask Rachel why she loves me so much.
Gosh, that is such a cool tweet. Who wrote that? Oh my God.
Meagen's retweeting.
Yes, I was. I saw them like saying questions. I was like,
Meagen created a fake Twitter account.
I should have. I thought it was a pretty good question. So, you know.
Well, why do you love her so much?
Yeah, why do you love me so much?
You're pretty hard not to love, to be honest. You're just, Meagen, for everyone who doesn't know her, is like one of the most genuine people I have ever met. I love so much about her. She just wears her heart on her sleeve.
You poor thing. You don't have to keep going. It's fine.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
True. Anyone who knows.
There you go. See, Christina, she agrees with me.
Big
Thanks,
heart.
guys. Thanks, guys. I love you. I love you.
That's to the non-Meagen Tandy Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
a
don't know
perfect
who sent
question.
that.
Yeah. Christina, I wanted to ask, what drew your character to Meagen's?
I think that Julia loves attractive women, number one. They're very similar in a way. Like they're both very trained, intelligent. They have probably similar experiences that they can relate to each other. And also they both love hanging out and eating burgers. So there's like things that they have in common.
Those freaking burgers, man.
Were there like legit burgers that you actually sat down and ate and had to like?
Yeah, I wanted to throw up after every take because they were cold.
Oh, no.
And this is so not going to happen now in the day of Corona, but like they kept turning the burger for she and I to eat off of. And one time, remember, they didn't turn it and it was after lunch. So I was like, okay. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm eating Christina's like saliva from an hour ago. But yes, it was just, we've bonded.
Bonded over burgers and saliva.
Yeah, pretty much.
And burgers that day. We must have done. At least.
We say that again?
Like at least 3 or 4 we got through.
Oh God, probably. And thankfully you were having to eat the majority of it. So that was cool. But then I got one of your like half-eaten French fries. Do you remember that? So she would take a bite of a fry and they have to recycle the food for each take, which that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
They can't afford more fries.
Dude, don't even get me started. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like we should have had like way more. But so they would put the half-eaten one back into the thing. Then here we go, action. It's my turn to grab the fry. And I can't like not go with it. So I was just like, oh my God, she bit it. And I just ate it. So
oh my God, she's eating it.
Yeah.
Like bonded for life over fries.
Literally. Yeah.
And for Meagen, with all the shows on Earth Prime, who from Black Lightning would you love to have a scene with in a future crossover? And that comes from K50 Cullen over on Twitter.
I mean, it's kind of like bound to happen that Nefessa and I are going to have a scene together at some point. That would be awesome. And then, of course, for Cam, I have to say, like Black Lightning, like the actual superhero. It would be great to, I think Cam would like shoot me if I didn't say that. So definitely Black Lightning for sure.
What would Sophie's reaction be? Like if she met them?
I feel like Sophie, I feel like she probably would, think Nefessa's kind of cute. So she'd be like, hey, you wanna check this out? But then I think she would also just be excited to see Black Lightning and all of his garb because it's a black man. So that would be kind of cool.
I'd like to work with Tobias. I met him at the Upfront.
He's so cool.
Yeah. But he's also like my evil counterpart. So
yeah.
What about you, Christina?
I'm not familiar with the show, unfortunately.
Don't tell Cam that.
It's because, okay, so Christine, this is not Christina's fault because at the beginning, I don't know, it became like this cast joke that we just like were all big fans of Black Lightning. And we get, like, Black Lightning tattoos and like it was just because Cam was so into Black Lightning, but that was
so
before you got there. So it's not Christina's fault that she
no.
like totally Cam will get to you, but
he will.
He's watching. Sorry.
Don't fight it. Just go with it.
Yeah.
And who would you love to see guest starring on the show? Start with Meagen.
Guest star in our show?
Yeah.
Who would I like to see guest star in our show? What, just from like any of the worlds or just any actor?
Anybody in anywhere. Your dream.
Batman. Okay. Aside from Batman, gosh, I don't know. Batman, that's my answer.
It counts. What about you, Christina?
I know she's already been on the show, but I would love to personally work with Supergirl, Melissa Benoist. Everyone's like raves about how lovely she is and how much fun she is to work with. So yeah, that'd be cool.
What about you, Rachel?
I'd really like Jared Padalecki to come on our show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's just because he's
Cool.
so lovely. And also my husband's a really big fan of Supernatural. So that would be really fun. And then anyone from The Walking Dead. Like literally.
Oh my God, how can I not say?
Yeah, how could you say that?
We need Rick Grimes. Okay, so Sophie's lesbian, but on that day, I don't know. Like if Rick showed up on her show.
On that day, she's bi.
She's bi. Oh my, she would be bi. Oh my God, that's such a good one. Rach, that's my girl.
Question.
Eye to eye on the cupcakes.
I know. But on Walking Dead, we're there.
If Jared was on the show, would he play a bad guy or a good guy?
I mean, I guess he'd play a good guy, but it'd be interesting to see him as a bad guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be really hot actually to see him as a bad guy on our show.
Be a bad guy so he can be with me.
Yeah.
And I have another Twitter question from AEO Stooney, and it's for Christina. Julia has sparks with everyone. How/why? And are you just that charming?
But I'm not that charming.
You are.
Yeah, you are.
I think Julia has a real confidence about her, which I think makes her alluring to other characters. And maybe she knows that a bit. And one of the things I love about Julia, she has like a real like zest for life. So I think she's always like trying to find the fun in stuff. So I think if she sees someone and they have like a bit of a connection, she'd be like, oh, well, this could be fun. So I think that's why she's kind of so successful.
Because everywhere she goes, I'm like, she has a connection with every single person. I want to be like that. I want to be like Julia.
She's community everywhere.
Yeah, sure. And I have a question from Queer DeLion for all of you. What do you think your characters will be doing in quarantine?
Good.
Well, I mean, Alice released the coronavirus, so
yeah, I was gonna say you released it. Enjoying
definitely
it.
not staying in quarantine. Alice is like,
No.
out there. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like Sophie would probably just be sitting there in her feelings, just trying to figure out, whether or not she needs to reach out to Tyler and, really make this divorce official. She's probably thinking about Kate, and I think that's probably about all she's doing.
Oh, that sounds like a very difficult quarantine. I think that
yeah. She's a little complicated, the poor thing. Hopefully she gets to branch out a little bit more.
Yeah. I think Julia probably like use the opportunity to go off to some kind of uninhabited island and like drink cocktails with her best life. Probably work on her craft training.
So in other words, she's not going to be in quarantine. She's going to be out and about.
Quarantine on an island somewhere, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Rachel?
What my character? No, she wouldn't.
Oh, just that?
Yeah.
She would just be like releasing it?
Yeah, she wouldn't be like, I'm gonna stand for the better good.
Right.
like,
yeah.
I had someone ask a really, really interesting question on Twitter about quarantine and Alice. And it's from Caitlin Stein. And they asked, if Alice had to be in quarantine for months and actually followed it, do you think she would revert back to her mentality when she was being held captive in that room?
Oh, that's a very actually thoughtful question. I mean, I suppose it would depend, if she was stuck in like a small flat or in a large mansion. I think anytime that Alice is locked in a small space, she, as we saw in the show, she reverts back to that time and those feelings. I think if she was in like her super lair, if she was quarantining with her rabbits and stuff, maybe she'd be okay. But
a little pet.
It's like time. She'd use the time wisely.
I'll bet. And another question from Twitter from Lisa Rianas. What would be your favorite character on the show besides your own?
Oh, I've always said Alice is dope. I think that would be bomb sauce. I just love Rachel's portrayal of Alice and Beth. I think that's a really awesome character. And then, of course, Batwoman, because she's the superhero. So both of those.
Yeah.
What about you, Christina?
Yeah, I think I would enjoy playing the villain as well. I think Alice would be really fun for that reason. Yeah. I also wouldn't, because I don't think I'd do it as well. So that.
Oh hell no, we would not do it as well as Rach.
Like see Rachel's portrayal, then maybe. But yeah, I think it's fill those shoes easily.
Thank you. I can tell you who I wouldn't want to play is Cam's character because of all the like mumbo jumbo he has.
Oh my god!
I felt like I did it for a couple days as Beth, and it's just like what? Like I didn't even know half this stuff I was talking about. But if I could play another character, maybe Hush. I really liked but again, he just played it so brilliantly.
Yeah.
But that's such an epic like Batman universe baddie. And he did it. I thought it was so brilliant because he played Hush with a sense of humor, you know, that was just so beautifully done and so natural. But I quite liked his character.
Okay. And then talking about villains, what other villain would you like to see on the show?
Penguin.
Yeah, Penguin. Or the Riddler.
The Riddler.
That'd be really cool. I feel like the Riddler and Alice would kind of have like a good little funny, weird dynamic there.
Yeah, maybe we're in love. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Or even, I guess, see me because I just love all like the Batman characters, but like Two-Faced. But then a lot of people were saying that that's kind of how Mouse was because Mouse had his face, you know. So it'd be interesting to see really like a lot of the villains kind of come and like play to our world of the villains and just kind of see like those dynamics. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, and also Sophia. I'd love to see.
Yeah,
I know
that's gonna be exciting.
And for the Riddler and Alice, who would approach who? Like, would he sweep you off your feet, or would Alice sweep him off his feet? Like,
I mean, I don't even know what romance looks like for Alice. You know, like, what is sweeping Alice off her feet? You know,
like death, destruction.
I
know. Destruction, mayhem. Sorry, my dog's like barking like crazy outside. That's me, in case anyone's wondering.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just waiting for the moment where my family says something, and I'm like, I'm live.
Like,
I'm doing something.
Shut up.
Well, I got a bird feeder outside because obviously I love
of course you did.
creatures like coming to where I am. And so I got this bird feeder, and it's amazing because all these birds just flock, and Hazel goes out, but she's afraid of the birds, but she still barks at them. But anyway, it's like a symphony outside.
That's cute.
What kind of dog do you have?
She's a mutt. So we're not entirely sure, but I think she's a Cocker Spaniel poodle.
So cute.
And I'm not like I always adopted pit bulls, and you know, I grew up with big dogs, and I would like make fun of blonde girls in LA with poodles. And now I am that girl, and I'm proud. I like walk around with Hazel like a baby.
Yeah,
and like, that's me, like putting her in sweaters and stuff.
That's adorable. And what about you, Meagen and Christina? Do you guys have animals to keep you company during this quarantine?
I do. I've got little Coda, my little baby. It's weird. We're trying to figure out what her makeup is, but she's Schnauzer, Terrier, and Jack Russell. So it's, you know, she's somewhere in there, but she's a mutt, and she drives me crazy, but she makes me laugh all the time. She's my little my cute little thing. But same thing with Rach. Like I couldn't imagine in a million years that I would be putting like sweaters and jackets on my dog. Mind you, my dog needs it in Vancouver because it's so flipping cold. But now I kind of just do it because it's cute. And it's like, what happened to me? So this is just what happened.
Who am I?
Yeah, and I'm taking selfies with the dog. Like it's a little weird.
You're dog moms.
Yeah.
What about you, Christina?
Unfortunately, no, I don't have a dog, but we
You
do
have a partner? Get one.
Yeah, I do have a partner, and he's been here the whole time.
You dress him up in little sweaters.
Yeah. Make sure you tell him to sit.
Little baby.
Hey, you.
We do have like this family of foxes that seems to like flock to our garden.
Oh, that's cool.
But last summer, a fox gave birth to 5 little fox cubs.
Aww.
Behind this garden shed that I'm in. I'm in the garden shed right now. And then I just saw like these tiny little foxes running around the garden. They were so small. I think
that's cute.
They were blind, but they
are like, literally living my dream.
Yeah. Wait, do they know about your squirrels? You have to tell them about your squirrels.
Oh yeah. This
is like how I first met Rachel, by the way. Continue.
Yeah. So at my house, there was a squirrel who I named Joe. And I was out of work at the time, so I was like home a lot, and I decided that I would feed him. So I put out walnuts, and he really liked walnuts. I kind of like trial and error figured out what he liked. And then it got to the point where I trained him to come eat out of my hand. And then it got to the point where like he'd come sit on my shoulder and like eat. And then he kind of told all his squirrel friends. So then there was like, you know, Marcel and Sam, and then I had like a pregnant mom, and like, and literally at one point, Alex we were out on the porch or on the deck, and he's like looking around. He's like, there are like 9 squirrels here, and they would come and like sit and like wait for their nuts. And then Marcel would like knock on the window to get nuts. Like it was like out of control in the best way possible. And then people would come over, Meagen included. And the squirrels, they'd just be sitting out there waiting for their nuts. And then I'd give nuts to people, and then they'd feed them and like eat out of your hand.
It was like the weirdest thing. Like I'm literally like on her back porch, and there was 2 squirrels. And normally you're like, roar, and they'll leave. They'll go somewhere. These damn things were just like waiting for someone, and I'm like, what's going on? And then here comes Rachel, and like I just met her. She just like gives something to whatever, and I'm just like, these are your pets? Like, and she just starts telling the story, and I'm like, this girl's a little weird, but it was so cool.
I know people come, and like it got to the point where Marcel would come in and he'd just sit on the couch. Like he'd just sit there and like wait for nuts. It was like, as I tell the story now, I'm like, I understand why people think I'm insane, but it was literally my heaven. Like I loved it.
It's cool. It's weird that you were able to like, I feel like I would not have been able to do that. You're like the squirrel whisperer. Like you were seriously like, you had it going on.
You're literally a Disney princess.
Yeah, what she's telling too is before we got Batwoman. Like this is long before.
Yeah, before.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I can imagine this, and now I kind of want someone to do fan art of Alice, like a Disney princess.
Oh. Well, people keep tweeting me the squirrel sitting at the little picnic table on the fence. The picnic
table.
We're like, this is you. Like, give me ideas.
Yeah.
God. Let's see. I'm gonna give you another Twitter question. From Pod Flash Girl asks, Meagen, can we expect Sophie to sport her natural hair in season 2? Love seeing Meagen's hair, and that representation on TV would be great. P.S. Love your braids.
Yay, thank you. Gosh, that would be so awesome. In fact, we talked about it for like 5 seconds in season 1, that it wouldn't be my natural, like, you know, like a fro, but maybe my cornrows, because I love doing like different designs, because I have to wear cornrows underneath the wigs. And so I was talking to our hair department head, and I was like, you know, you think it'd be possible if we could do like a little cornrow design? And she said that would be, it's possible, but you guys have to understand, like, the thing that's kind of frustrating sometimes with television is they like don't let you change your hair a lot, because there's like right, you know what I'm talking about? There's a thing with it that like, it just helps. Something about, they told me that that's how the audience can identify you. So if you're, which is like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, it's like they assume, like networks assume that if I put my hair in a ponytail, people will be like,
yeah,
where did Alice go?
Right, who is that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
because like there'd be so many times that I would try to like I would try to wear my hair straight, you guys. I was like, all right, let's straighten it all the way. And they're like, no, Sophie's got to have a little wave because that's what you've, blah, blah, blah. So it might be a little bit of a stretch to get my natural state to be a part of it. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that'll be different with season 2. So maybe my hair will be different too. We'll see.
Okay, because I know Candace, she had her hair naturally and she looked so beautiful. And you can see the comments. It meant so much to people. Like
I know. I would love to be able to do it. I don't know what season she was able to bust that out. Like, was it?
I think it was the latest one.
Yeah. So it might take some time. Need to work my way up the ladder. We'll see.
Okay. Another question from Twitter from Caitlin Stein. What kind of story arc do you want for season 2 of Batwoman?
For Sophie, I think it'd be really cool if she could somehow tag team with Batwoman, and they're just kind of going out fighting crime, doing their thing, but at the same time she's still helping out with the Crows. But I think, mind you, they did tag team because they liked each other, but maybe if that's not going to be happening, I think it'd be cool if they kind of just were like this dynamic duo, just going out there taking people down. That'd be cool.
Christina?
Well, we didn't actually get to see what happened to Julia and Sophie at the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely want to see how that plays out and what's in store for both of them. Because I don't really know what could happen. So yeah, that'll be exciting.
I know, especially since Julia's checking everybody out. So maybe she doesn't want to stay with Sophie.
I don't get that impression, but we'll see. But I also want to see, I would like to know more of Julia's backstory, how she became such a badass, like how she's become so resilient, like can go through all this bodily torture. And I want to see what her relationship is with Sapphire and the links to be like discovered there.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel?
Well, first I just want to give a shout out to Jennifer, who's our ALS interpreter, who's just brilliant.
Yeah, I'm checking her out.
Everyone, and it's so beautiful. But I guess with Alice, I'd also like to see, similar to what Christina said, like how did she become the leader of her, the Wonderland gang? How did she learn her knives? I mean, we saw how she became kind of crazy in Alice, but we don't really know how she became the supervillain that she is. And I'd really love to dive into that a little bit more.
Okay. And I wanted to ask about the physical aspect of it, because it had to be like new, kicking butt, like how was it for you guys physically challenging yourselves to try these new things? Especially with these
Meagen's like a natural born ninja, so she was fine.
Yeah, in another life, I feel like I might have been like a stunt coordinator or something. I approached it with full on embrace. I was like, stunts, yay! Like it wasn't intimidating to me. Plus, I mean, I really, really love my stuntie. Her name's Rochelle Okoye, and I knew that if there was literally anything that it's like, I'm not doing that, she would be right there and she would just, bust right on it. And so it was never anything for me to be fearful of. But yeah, I love the challenge of it. It's fun.
What about you, Christina?
Yeah, I love doing the stunts. It was something new for me, and I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I have. But I think that's because of the stunt team that we have on the show, who just like a rehearsal. I got to like see first what it's going to look like, and then I got to train and do it with them, and then when you actually got onto set, it wasn't like, oh, what am I doing? It's like you actually know. That's fun. But one thing that I found really hard, and I still find really hard, is knowing how, you know this, Meagen, is knowing how to hold and point a gun effortlessly. Like
Oh my God. Yes. So, okay, I've kind of like semi like learned how to properly do it. And I was like trying to show Christina, and the way she does it is just hilarious.
so good.
Yeah, it is really good. I actually have a really good video of you trying to like do your thing, and I wanted to post it, but I was like, that wouldn't be right. So I'm gonna send it to you. You should post it. It's so good. It's so good.
Well, what about you, Rachel?
I also don't know how to hold. Honestly, you know why? It's because Christina and I are from countries that like don't have guns. So, like, we've never
lucky
really
you
held
guys.
guns. We've never. And so I, in a scene, like I had the gun like this, and I like turned it like this. And the guy comes to me, he's like, no one shoots a gun like that. Like, you would really hurt yourself. Like, that's just in like gangster videos. And I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, luckily Alice uses knives, so I don't have to look cool with guns, or like I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. But I don't like stunts. It's not my forte. I'm like super kind of, I don't know, like gawky, and like I never really feel like I look badass doing them. So I'm more than happy to have a stuntie help me out with stunts. Yeah, I know I should love them. Or I mean, it's not that I hate doing them. I always feel like I look a little ridiculous. Like I don't look as badass as, I want to look. Plus, like, to be honest, stunts, like Meagen and Christina are so much better at them than I am. But we all have stunt doubles who are like professionals.
Yeah, and that's like their job.
Yeah, that's their job. Like they know what's up. This stuff that they can do is incredible. And I'm more than happy to have my stunt double make me look fantastic.
What about playing with knives? Yeah, it's definitely safer. What about the playing with the knives for Alice?
That I did learn, and that was really fun. I don't have my knives here. They're in Vancouver. But I really love playing with them, which sounds odd, but I remember we had at the very beginning, in the pilot, I had to use the knives, and they, I think, expected that I wouldn't be able to learn it. So they were just going to have a close up on a hand doing it and then cut back to me and pretend that it was me doing it. But I made it my mission to learn how to do those. And like literally I'd be on like FaceTimes with people and I'd be going like this. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, just practicing my knives. Like, and then I got it. And now it's sort of like second nature. Like I can do it without even thinking. And it's the coolest party trick. But you do have to pick like your audience, because you don't want to be like selling knives at the grocery store.
That's not good.
Stopped at customs, like if you're traveling with all your knives.
That's well, yeah, that's why they're in Vancouver. I didn't take them on the plane.
Oh my god. But yeah, you look like a badass.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, another question from Twitter from Caitlin Enstein. Alice is such a complex character. What is the most challenging part to act when it comes to her?
What's the most challenging part about Alice?
Yeah. Well, the most challenging part to act when it comes to Alice.
Oh, some of the psychological torture was a lot. Like I loved the episode where we got the whole backstory of the Queen of Hearts, but I've spent Sam too, to be honest, who played Mouse, like hooked up to that fear toxin thing, and just for hours and being dragged across the floor and begging, crying. And the thing is, in an episode, and it's the same for these girls, like when you watch something, it's 48 minutes. And so maybe what we each individually do in an episode is 13 minutes, but that actually accounts for 18-hour days. Like, it's 8 to 10 of them to film the episode. It's a lot. So when you're crying and you're playing that emotional stuff, as much as it's so fulfilling, as an artist to get to do that. It definitely takes a lot out of you. But it's oddly cathartic at the same time. I'd come home at the end of those days and be like, wow, I just feel like I really let it all out.
Yeah, it's like a therapy session.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment like in the script that you thought, I might not be able to do this, like might not be able to pull this off for all three of you? Was there a moment that like really like challenged you?
Yeah, for me, it's actually something I'm still like really working on, but anything surrounding like where I have to like break down, like emotionally cry, that can still be a little challenging for me because like I learned in acting class that like, so it's crazy. Like if I had an audition and I have to break down and cry, I can do it just fine by my black ass self. But you put me like in front of people, the tears are like not there. They're not coming out. And so it's a little bit of stage fright. It's like because I'm having to perform and like those having to cry, it kind of freezes me up a little bit. So anytime I would get because Sophie, she was crying a lot for a couple episodes there, like I would freak out like, oh my god, how am I going to be able to do this? And I was able to do it by just really like going inside and making it very real. And I feel like it actually, like, this is where I'm saying I can totally agree with you on this, Rach. Like once I did it, like I felt so good because I was like, yeah, I busted this out. And it can be very, very rewarding once you do it. But yeah, it still kind of freaks me out to see like a lot of emotional, like type of stuff for sure.
What about you, Christina?
I'd say some of the physical things have been difficult. Like there was one episode, the one I was getting electrocuted. There was like I had my head resting on this headrest, and I was
that
it has to look real. So I'd be going like action.
Oh.
After a while, I started getting bruises, and that's
and it like rips the side of your mouth. Like, you know, that they made us in our mouths. And then you start gripping it, and that you got it so bad though. Like I did it maybe 6 times. You did that like 37 times. Like, I felt so bad for you that day.
That sucks.
Yeah, I blocked that out. I actually blocked that out of my mind.
Let's see. And for you, Rachel, what was like something that was like super challenging for you?
Oh, just playing 2 characters. Together, working together. I was like, I can't do this. I'd never done that before. You know, it's easy to sort of define 2 characters when they're not acting together because, you know, the veil is still there, right? This, the separation means that you can see me as this character when I'm on screen and then me as this character when I'm on screen, but I wasn't sure I could sell it with the 2 me's together and make it be believable that these were 2 entirely different human beings when it was literally just me. But it was, I mean, I haven't been that sort of scared to do something in acting for a while. And I was like really scared. I remember my cousin was visiting me and I was making him like run lines with me. And like, I was just so nervous about it. But I sort of loved that because I always think, you know, if you're really nervous about doing something, it's probably going to be like a growing opportunity and worthwhile. And you know, it definitely was. It was really fun.
I kind of like that. It's kind of like humbling because I feel like people look at celebrities, their stars. Oh, puppy!
Yay! Why am I waving to the dog?
Lost track of what I was gonna say because puppy.
She just keeps coming up, and I taught her to do high five. So she like high fives, but now she doesn't realize like to do it only when you raise your hand. She knows that she gets love for it, so she'll just come up and like high five you.
That's so cute.
So cute. I can imagine that little bundle. No, I was gonna say, like, I can imagine that little bundle in a sweater. Adorable.
God,
you're always so cute.
And what I was saying that it's kind of humbling to hear, you know, celebrities or people that you think about highly, that they're going through struggles as well in their workplace. Because a lot of times we look at people that we admire and we're like, they don't have the same problems that I do. And you're like, yeah, I do have the same problems that you have. So it's kind of nice to hear you guys talking about this, because everybody goes through stuff. Everybody struggles with something.
Yeah, absolutely. We are still human.
Yep, exactly. And
I don't know about you, but I still get so nervous on the first day of any job. Like,
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's like the first day
sure.
of school. You like can't sleep,
yeah.
but it's even worse than school because you can't be fired from school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You be fired from your job, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm an impostor. How did they give me this job? Like, they're gonna find out.
I'm gonna find out I'm not qualified. And yes, you are all qualified. We have about 5 minutes left, so I wanted to ask how quarantine has been treating you. What have you been up to that's been keeping you going?
Quarantine, for the most part was going just fine for me. It's definitely, it's been a little weird coming back home for the 3 months, well now 4 months. So just being back home I was finding my struggles with it, and then now the struggle with my mom, which I can't talk about anymore, but it's made quarantine a lot harder. So, but I'll let somebody else answer that.
Okay.
It's an honest answer. Sorry.
Oh no, it's perfect.
I was like, I can't.
Quarantine's
great. My mom's not here, so.
Oh.
I think I was doing, but I actually think it's really important to be honest about quarantine and how tough it is, especially just in terms of your mental health, and the toll that it takes. And so Meagen, I'm so glad that you were honest about that, because I find for me, I'm just gonna get a hazel over here. I find for me, like at the beginning of quarantine, I was like rocking, and I'm like, wow, I'm so creative, and it was great. And then the last 2 weeks have been really, really tough, and I felt down, and I haven't felt like doing anything. And yeah, it's not easy. I just think it's good to be honest about that, because for people who already struggle with mental health issues, this is really isolating and really filled with uncertainty and really scary. And you should be able to talk about that and be honest about it. So I'm coming out and saying quarantine has really not been easy for me for the last couple weeks. So I'm really glad to be here and to connect with you guys.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
It's a great distraction for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Christina?
Kind of the opposite of Rachel. I found the beginning of quarantine tough, and I felt just more anxious, and I was like checking the news constantly and like always looking for information and just kind of freaking myself out. I also flew back a bit later, so yeah, I felt like I wasn't really settled for a while, and then over time, when I got used to like this routine, I'm a person who needs a routine. I've grown to like aspects of quarantine and lockdown, and have actually like discovered some new skills which I didn't knew I had. I started writing songs, which I like is completely like very exciting. So
that's so cool.
Watch this space. Maybe one day you'll hear one of them.
So you're a good singer. That you got everything. Like I can write the songs. I got the voice.
I'm an okay singer, but just really enjoyed writing.
I told her she's got to release an album.
Her signal, and
yeah,
single, and it's
single.
Like. That's not true. I haven't ever heard you sing though, but I'm sure you have a beautiful speaking voice. So I'm sure.
Yeah, she does.
And even if it is as I just acted, we will support you.
I know, right? We will buy your album.
Get you for Christmas.
She's gonna send you like Christmas singles, the classics. I'm down.
You just randomly, like, do you play the piano? Like, did you? Yeah. So you played the piano before?
Yeah.
Okay, but you've never like written your own songs ever?
No, never. Like, really, that's just been
That's crazy. It's so random.
I know, but I love that.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to write your first song?
I think I just wanted to do it for ages, and I always thought like, wow, I'll be rubbish, and there's no point, and all this stuff. But I got so bored with lockdown that I just sort of like, I was like, no one's ever going to hear them, so why wouldn't I try?
Oh yes, we will.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
They're gonna hold you accountable.
I should never have said anything.
No, it's perfect. So she said the other day, she's like, yeah, I've been writing songs, and I just started grilling her. I was like, oh great, so you, Cam, and Nicole, you guys are gonna do some sort of a little duet or something. You're gonna perform, you're gonna, so I'm planting the seed. She's gonna be doing something soon.
Oh my God. So I think we are out of time for today's panel. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and just be here for fans. Everybody's going through such a hard time, and then this is such an uplifting moment just to share with all of you. And for anyone watching, make sure to stick around because there are panels about podcasting and Black representation in media coming up. And just want to say thank you, stay safe, and have a good day. Bye,
Yay,
everyone.
bye.
Guys, thanks for joining.